It was a man-made disaster. The hurricane had passed already. They blew the levees. That's right, you heard me. They blew them up in the night ward. Too many people heard the explosion, and they have done this twice before. In 1927, they blew them, and in 1967 for Hurricane Betsy, they blew them to flood the poor part of town so the richer part of town wouldn't flood as much. This whole thing was really a psyop for martial law. Y'all have no idea what really happened out here, and y'all forgot about it. They don't even play it on the news. You act like it's like it never even happened. My family been here since 1724, before this was even a country. They helped build New Orleans. I know everything about Louisiana and New Orleans. Stuff y'all have no idea, nothing about in a history book nowhere. I have knowledge of things, and I'm going to share a little bit with y'all. Let's get started.
It's dedicated to the President of the United States of America. Yeah, y'all might know him as George Bush, but where I'm from, Lost City of New Orleans, we call him this. Georgia. That's right. Georgia Bush. I did something dedicated to the one with the suit. Thick white skin and his eyes bright blue. So-called beef with you know who. Fuck it, he just let him kill all our troops. Look at all the bullshit we been through. Had a nigga sitting on top of their roofs. Hurricane Katrina, we should've called it Hurricane Bush. Then they telling y'all lies on the news. The white people smiling like everything cool. But I know people that died in that pool. I know people that died in them schools. Now what is the survivor to do? Got no trailer, you gotta move. Guys on to Texas and to they tell you what they want, show you what they want you to see, but they don't let you know what's really going on. Make it look like a lot of stealing going on. All them cops is killers in my home. Nigga shot dead in the middle of the street. I ain't no deep, I'm just trying to eat. Man, fuck the police and President Bush. So what happened to the levees? Why wasn't they steady? Why wasn't they able to control this? I know some folk that live by the levee that keep on telling me they heard explosions. Same shit happened back in Hurricane Betsy in 1965. I ain't too young to know this. That was President Johnson, but not is Bush.
Every answer that anyone can understand why these people, after 6 days, are still in this filthy, miserable convention center. Why are they still here?
They were told to go to the convention center. They did. They've been behaving. The attitude there is unbelievable, how organized they are, how supportive they are of each other. They have not started any melees, any riots, nothing. They just want food and support. And what I saw there, I've never seen in this country. And we need to really look at this situation in this convention center. It's getting very, very crazy in there and very dangerous. And somebody needs to come down with a lot of food, a lot of water. There's no hostility there, so they don't need to be bringing any guns or anything like that. They need support. These people are very desperate. I saw 2 gentlemen die in front of me because of dehydration. I saw a baby near death.
I saw Fox News on Wednesday, and people were here at this building, the convention center, saying, get us out of here, help us, help us. And now it's 48 hours after that, and the people are still here. None of them, as far as I know, not a single one has been bussed out of here. They're all still here. Why is that? God, I wish I knew. I wish someone could tell me. Where are all the buses? Look in the face of the baby. This is it. This is it. No sugarcoating, no political spin, no Republicans or Democrats. People suffering.
Mike Whitney released an article called The Siege of New Orleans on September 8, 2005. Quote, neither the mainstream media nor the alternative leftist websites have told the true story of what really happened in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. For the people of the region, it was the greatest natural catastrophe they'd ever faced. For the Bush administration, it was just another opportunity to use fear and anarchy to advance their global agenda. The administration intentionally withheld desperately needed aid to the city to force Governor Kathleen Blanco into surrendering control of the National Guard and local police to federal authority. This explains why neither FEMA nor Homeland Security nor the Pentagon lifted a finger to help the distraught townspeople for 4 full days. The administration was using vital supplies as bargaining chips to bribe the governor into submission. The goal? was to dismantle regional defenses and militarize a major port city. The Katrina disaster provided the cover for the Pentagon to launch military operations against U.S. citizens for the first time in modern history. Their effort was badly bungled, but the attempt is chilling nonetheless. The strategy that was applied to New Orleans has been used across the nation, although to a lesser degree. Rumsfeld has consistently tried to undermine local preparedness and state control so that he can insert the military into domestic affairs. Within this schema, we can see how the calculated destruction of the National Guard, 40% of who are overseas, works perfectly with the goals of the defense establishment and the corporate oligarchy it represents, end quote.
They won't let them walk out of there because I'm standing right above that convention center. And what they've done is they've locked them in there. The government said, you go here and you'll get help. Or you go in that Superdome and you'll get help. And they didn't get help. They got locked in there, and they watched people being killed around them. And they watched people starving, and they watched elderly people not get any medicine. And now they know it's happening because we've been telling them repeatedly over and over every day. And you know what they're doing now? And I'm not blaming anyone. I'm telling you what's happening. They have set up a checkpoint at the bottom of this bridge. This is the bridge that takes you from New Orleans over into Gretna, from Orleans Parish into Jefferson's Parish. It's the only way out. It's the connection to the rest of the world. And they've set up a checkpoint, and anyone who walks up out of that city now is turned around. You are not allowed to go to Gretna, Louisiana from New Orleans, Louisiana. Over there, there's hope. Over there, there's electricity. Over there, there's food and water. But you cannot go from there to there. I think the government will not allow you to do it. It's a fact.
I want to get some perspective here because earlier today, the images...
That is perspective.
Hang on a second.
That is all the perspective you need.
Mike Whitney continued, quote, FEMA, which is supposed to work as a federal relief agency for major natural disasters, was functioning entirely as an intermediary for the Defense Department to subvert relief efforts to force the governor to capitulate. It is as close to a military coup as we have ever seen in America.
The federal government literally blocked aid so they could take over New Orleans and cause martial law. I hope y'all could see this. This is a list. I'm only going to read a few, but y'all going to get the picture of the people that was turned around that was trying to help New Orleans. For 6 days, people dying, aborting babies on a bridge, pregnant mothers. Y'all have no idea what really happened. I'm going to just read a few. These are from the Sun Sentinel, 2005, September the 2nd. FEMA blocks 500 Florida airboat pilots from rescue work. FEMA to Chicago, just send one truck. Let's see. FEMA blocks 500 boat citizen flotilla from delivering aid. Homeland Security won't let Red Cross deliver food. Post-Gazette, 2005. These are all stories from top newspapers that wrote stories on how they block people from getting help from New Orleans. And that was all for a reason, people. We got to wake up. They want us to fight each other, kill each other. This black and white theme is still going on. Or the Democrat and Republican theme. They always trying to get us to hate each other and kill each other. But I'm going to show you one group. I don't like to use the word proud, but that's my people. I'm proud. And I'm going to show you, and you're never going to hear this on no news story, who went against the law and really helped people in New Orleans. And another thing, all the shots in New Orleans they're showing you only show black people. They had a lot of white people in there too. At least 30%, I say, right around it were in there. But when the cameras went in, they want you to think it's about a race, it's about one thing. White people, we got some shit coming for our ass. Y'all better wake up. I'm going to show y'all a little something.
These are some of the starkest scenes from the floodwaters that overwhelmed New Orleans. Thousands of people on rooftops, without food or water, begging for help. As many as 60,000 people tried to ride out the storm. So many could only wave and wait for rescue. Watching it all on television in Lafayette was former State Senator Nick Gautreaux, who received a very personal plea for help.
I got a text from Walter Wasso. He was a senator at the time that I served with in the Senate, and his text was simple. My people are dying. I need help.
So Gautreaux put out his own plea across local TV and radio. South Louisiana journalist Trent Andrews.
And they announced anybody wants to go help the people in New Orleans, please come to the Acadiana Mall. They expected 25 boats. Between 350 and 400 boats and people showed up.
It was 4 a.m., 2 days after Katrina hit, and the mall parking lot was full. David Spazzali was there.
They might not have even used their boat or trailer in a long time. So you had some axle problems, you had some boats that were askew on the trailer. But the spirit was, I'm going to go help, I'm going to hitch it up.
Gautreaux recalls warning of victims drowning and armed robbers roaming the flooded streets.
If you're afraid of death, possibly you could get shot or killed, then this is not a place for you to come. And I will tell you, there's not a person to turn around.
What rolled out of Lafayette was a makeshift flotilla that has come to be called the Cajun Navy. An 8-mile convoy of boats made the 2-hour ride to New Orleans. Altogether, the Cajun Navy is credited with rescuing more than 10,000 people from flooded homes and rooftops.
It's still very painful.
Sarah Roberts was one of the rescuers. 10 years later, she still gets emotional thinking about those she saved.
It's hard to talk about, and hard to certainly think about.
What are the things that you can't forget?
How desperate people were, how eager they were to trust people they didn't even know, but they were just so grateful that someone cared about them.
It was a rescue effort that was initially stopped at the water's edge. Authorities told Cajun Navy members they could not launch for safety reasons, but they didn't listen.
You saw people in New Orleans walking in chest-deep water with all of their possessions floating in a plastic garbage can, and you're looking at it and thinking, this is in our country, and in our case, it's 2 hours down the road. So we were hard-pressed not to go into action. That's where we wanted to be.
Along the way, they had a front row seat to so many selfless acts. Sarah saw 2 men neck deep coming out of a Walgreens near a high-rise full of elderly people.
And I was just so frustrated and so angry that these people had looted and had broken in, and with all this, tragedy around. And I later found those guys. They'd broken into the Walgreens. To get medical supplies for those elderly people.
Before, do you think about that?
If we would have had to wait for the federal government to be down here to help people, you know how many people would have died?
During Katrina, General Russell Honore was put in charge of the federal response.
Weapons down! Weapons down, damn it!
This Louisiana native and 3-star general saw to it that the priority of his men and women was search and rescue.
We had 20,000 federal troops, we had 20 ships, and over 225 helicopters.
And with all of that firepower, Honore credits the Cajun Navy for doing much of the initial life-saving.
This is a little bit of the truth, people, and you still don't know nothing. A lot of young black men that would be considered thugs help people risk their lives over and over. They have so many stories. You're never going to hear this on the news. You're never going to hear about the white people, so-called white people, Cajuns, going in at gun. They was turned around at gunpoint on the bridge. Their weapons was taken. But the Cajuns know the backwaters. We found another way to get to New Orleans. Again, we went against the law. This was all a setup. My people, that black and white theme is over with. You have to get off the fence and make a choice. You serve the Most High or Satan. That's what it all boils down to. Peace and love. Think about subbing to my channel. I have a lot of new information coming. Peace.